My name's Adam Manaka and I'm the Financial Controller for Hi-Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at Hi-Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. Hi-Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
It's round number 3 of the 2018 Australian Prototype Series here at Queensland Raceway. Some of the fastest prototype cars in Australia set to battle it out. And the news from race number 1 earlier in the weekend was the Queensland driver David Barham in his first start of the weekend aboard the Chiron, who dominated, taking the race victory. Of course, we do have a pretty exciting title fight on with the likes of Mark Lauke, John Paul Drake, and also Jason Macris, our current points leader, involved in that contest. Let's check out the grid positions. It's David Barham on pole position for this one, ahead of Mark Lauke, back then to Macris and Sage Murdoch on the second row. Stephen Champion, the first of the Radical drivers, in position number 5. Carmelo Bonaventura in position 6, then Grant Green, Scott Bingham, Brian Pettit and Brenton Keogh rounding out the top 10. We'll have some onboard cameras covering all of the action for you, including on the reigning series champions car, Mark Lauke in West WX10. Race is underway. A fairly clean start, but it's David Barham in the Chiron who gets the jump. Mark Lauke slots into second position, and then it's the two wolves of Macris and Murdoch who will be next in positions number 3 and 4. All of the drivers using the aerodynamic aids of their cars to carry a lot of corner speed through turn number 2 onto the back straight. And let's head to our series commentators, Darren Smith and Richard Crail.
This race is going to be absolutely ripper. We've got some championship contenders that need to push their way through.
And already big moves happening. Jason Macris looking down the inside of Mark Lauke there at turn 3. Big dive. Lauke was the big mover in race 1 yesterday, started 4th. He passed Sage Murdoch, he's in the pink and black Wolf GBO8. He then passed Jason Macris, got himself to second place. No one could catch Dave Barham in the Chiron. He was out in front and driving away. That's champion car number 34. It's the Garth Walton Racing Run Radical SR3. It's stranded. He's had a spin at turn number 3.
It's facing the wrong direction there too, so they've got the crew down there getting him out of there. Let's hope we don't get a safety car intervention. There's plenty of time to get round there and pick up that car. Looking back down through the field there. There goes our race leader, Dave Chiron, and just having said that, here comes the safety car intervention. Of course, the Australian Prototype Series presented by Hot Wheels. Some really cool cars out on the racetrack and a really cool sponsor to cover it off as well.
So this is a look a little bit further back. Turn 3. I think that might have been Bonaventura looking down the inside, perhaps in car 14. Just contacted champion, turned him around. So after a solid run into the top 5 yesterday, this car was a strong performer, leading the Radical class. Unfortunately, he's now pointing in the wrong direction.
And away we go again. Barham leads Macris, Lauke, Murdoch, Bonaventura and Drake as they charge down into turn 1. Green flags waving.
Well, if there's anywhere Macris can strike, it's on a restart, but the Chiron's got significantly more straight line performance than the Wolf GBO8 CN car that's behind. And the fastest, perhaps, of them all is Mark Lauke, and you can already see them trying to break the toe. And it's in the second half of the straight where the West really hits its straps and the Wolf runs out of straight line puff thanks to their air restrictor. So Lauke looking dangerous. Sage Murdoch, teenager, in behind him, young Sydney sider, who's had a pretty challenging start to his Australian Prototype Series career. But bear in mind, he can drop your 2 worst races of the season at the end of the year, so it actually makes that double DNF at Sandown not that bad. He'll get a whole bunch of points back, in effect, when he drops those 2 races off his final point score. And now he's back in form. He's had a very good run out of turn 5. He'll look down the inside and use that extra aero and braking performance of the Wolf. to get down the inside of the reigning champion Mark Lauke and make a move. He's third. Good pass.
Mark Lauke, well aware of the strengths of that car. He goes wide and has a big wobble. Goes right across the track in front of the traffic behind him. Doesn't lose a spot as yet, but it's the charging Radical that's coming through on him now with John Paul Drake at the wheel. John Paul Drake will have seen that in front of him now. Lauke's all skatey all over the road there. He will have picked up a lot of dirt and rubbish on the hot Kumo Control tyre, but he manages to gather it all up. He's got a big charge now. Sage Murdoch is chasing down Macros at the moment.
Wow, huge moment. Mark's a very talented racing car driver, but I'd suggest that moment was as much good luck as it was good management. Just out wide there at the final corner, so had been past there. He was out in the marbles off the racing line and then just kicked up the dust and had the huge moment. Let's see that again. So Murdoch's clear. He tried the over-under, so he turned in wider, so he had better mid-corner speed, and then just drops the car off the exit curb. They run about 40 mil off the ground, these cars, and it fired it across to driver's right. And then that would have been a full turn of lock in one of these cars to try and straighten it up. That's about all the steering it would have had.
In fact, as it got the left-hand rear wheel off the back of the ripple strip there, the right front wheel came off the ground, so the steering was all but nullified there, so just held on for that ride, skated on the under tray.
It's a teammate battle going on. The Jam Motorsport Wolves are going at it. Jason Macros is under pressure from Sage Murdoch.
Coming onto the main straight now, they get away nicely. And a line astern with each other. Sage Murdoch looks to the inside. It's not going to happen this time around. The Marina Mirage car there of Jason Macros just travelling very nicely indeed. You touched on those local Queensland cars that join in here, Richard. Really does throw some cats amongst the pigeons. We don't really talk much about the Manetti or the Chiron at many of the other rounds of the prototype series, but really good inclusion to have some cars with some different techniques of racing as well that need to be applied. And at the moment, it's the local guy Barham that's doing it out in front. This is the battle for second and third, and certainly the battle of the race. There's Mark Lauke now. He's actually closed that gap back up. He's really put the visor down and gone, right, got some laps still to go. In fact, 7. Let's see what we can get back from these two out in front.
Well, the more that these two dice, the more that Lauke will catch them and join in on the back of this battle. If you're unfamiliar with the Sage Murdoch story, he raced in Formula 4 last year in open wheelers. He actually qualified on the front row at this venue 12 months ago, actually on this weekend 12 months ago, and was on course for a podium finish, but got taken out in the third race of that weekend, so he was unable to spray the champagne.
There's the Morris Finance leaderboard. It's Chiron over Wolf GB8CN, another Wolf, and then a West in 4th place being piloted by Mark Lauke. And then a Radical SR3, 2 of them, Manetti, and then 8th is the SR3 as well.
So Dave Barham pulling away, 5.5 seconds the margin. Macros, Murdoch and Lauke, their cars are getting better as the race goes on. They're still lighting up the timing monitor with personal best sector times. Of course, they're all scrapping over position. Speaking of doing that, this is Pettit, Green and Beasley. 7th, 8th and 9th position. Radical looks to the inside. That's car 27, Adam Beasley, looking down at turn 3. Key overtaking opportunity. Does it? Doesn't get left a whole lot of room there. Green just tried to turn his car in. There was a little bit of a love tap between them. And they both live to fight another day, and it's a free kick for Pettit, who drives away. Meanwhile, unseen by us, Sage Murdoch has moved to 2nd place. So he just set his fastest lap of the race in that car, 1:11.22. Barham holds the fastest lap overall at a 10.4, but Murdoch gets past Jason Macros. So he's up into 2nd place. That's a big move. Championship leader relegated back to 3rd. Lauke still 4th.
Here we go now. Look at this, Macros try and reclaim that 2nd spot on the road. He does it. Murdoch gives him plenty of room there. In fact, that was some good, strong racing between those two. Murdoch didn't position his car particularly well there, and then it was Macros that just took advantage of that. And all in the meantime, just in the back of this battle is the charging Mark Lauke, Lauke Flour Mills West. This battle is really, really strong. Macros needs good points to try and really consolidate his spot out in front.
Here goes Murdoch down the inside at 6. Macros blocks. He blocked late. Very, very late. Oh, I'm questioning that move because he defended very, very aggressively late in the braking zone into that corner. So I don't know if race control will like that too much. Anyway, it didn't really matter. The fight continues and their lap speed is not good. They're slowing each other up. Murdoch in the 12s last time round. Lauki was 1.5 seconds quicker than the two of them. So this is that move. Lauki under brakes, turn 3. I'm not convinced Sage actually thought he was going to come from that far back. But the Marina Mirage driver, which is just down on the Gold Coast, by the way, you should go and check it out. Cool development. Just sent it and went and got it done. So Macros back to second.
Blue flag's now waving for the West, just coming up on now. There's John Paul Drake 5th, 6th is Camelo Bonaventura, Brian Pettit and Grant Green on the Morris Finance leaderboard.
That was a big moment. So Murdoch was having a really good run on Macros down into 6th, but couldn't find a way past. So he committed, but the lapped car of Brenton Keogh was in the way. So he had to bail out, otherwise he was going to get boxed in behind Keogh and would have lost a lot of time. So he's got to stay within that striking range in the toe of Macros in front. The Radicals continue to squabble. Bonaventura looking at Drake here. JP just driving down the middle of the road. And now Lauki is in striking distance as well of Sage Murdoch. So he's closed right in and trying to get himself back into the top 3. This is turning into a really enjoyable little scrap for 2nd, 3rd and 4th, while we watch the Radicals continue to fight.
This is now the battle for 2nd and 3rd on the road. Sage Murdoch really weighing in and putting the pressure on Jason Macros. And Jason Macros responding. The last 12 months of his career in the prototypes, he really has stepped up.
Had a big win last year, first of the year at Winton, first of his career. First, down the inside, Murdoch had a look, was just hesitating there because I thought Macros had run the car off the road, and he sort of did. He went out over the exit curb at turn 1, and that opened the door for Murdoch. But with a double toe of sorts is Lauki, who sails past Sage Murdoch. He'll get down the inside in the braking zone, and Macros will be his next target. This is a tremendous scrap. And with Barham cruising away out in front, this is the fight for the lead contenders in the Australian Prototype Series. Tremendous competition between two very different types of racing cars that produce their speed differently. So pretty straightforward stuff for Mark Lauki. While these two were scrapping, he hauled them in. The Jam Motorsport driver just committed down the inside. But Sage Murdoch, where he's been really good, is coming out of turn 5. I don't know what it is, but that car gets great drive out of the second of the two left-handers on the infield here and allows him to make moves down at turn 6, and now gets the switchback on Lauki, and they'll run wheel to wheel and run into turn 1.
Sage Murdoch's definitely not done with this. Looks to the inside now, feigns right back out to the outside. The West goes very wide, in fact, into the marbles and gets a fair load of four-wheel drift there. Gets pushed wide again. Mark Lauki absolutely driving the wheels off this West. I think that's probably the only, apart from that initial spin that he had that lost him the spots and then through turn 1, then it's the only ragged bit of this race he's driven. He's driven the car very direct whilst trying to catch this battle.
Great bit of racing. That was really entertaining. Wheel to wheel through turn 2, which is a fast corner, long flowing right-hander. And now he's just broken the toe, pulls away from Murdoch, who's back to 4th place. Was as high as 2nd for a time. I wonder if in a lap and a half, Mark Lauki can go out after Jason Macros. So the Wolf really good through turn 5 especially. It's quite an aero corner, so uses that extra downforce aero grip to fire itself out in position for a run into the final corner. Dave Barham has started the final lap of the race in the Chiron. That's 3 and a bit seconds out in front. He's just cruising around to bring the car home. The fight continues. Lauki with a big slide through turn 1. Driving the wheels off the Lauki Flour Mills West WX10.
Really good display of skill by these 3 races on screen now. Macros has just managed to pull a gap on these 2. It's only very small, but it's healthy enough to continue the last lap of this race. There's Lauki now sliding there. He's got opposite lock exit of the corner. A little bit of Speedway type rally stuff. We saw the update from Tasmania in the Australian Rally Championship there, but Mark Lauki applying a little bit of oppo there.
He's out of tyre, so that car's sliding around something chronic. He's had to drive it so hard to catch up to these guys after the error early on that I think he's used the Kumo up. And Murdoch's going to have a really good run down here into turn 6. Dave Barham just stroking the Chiron home to win it. The fight's on for the final step on the podium. Error for Murdoch, blocks the break going in. He'll try the over-under, and it'll be a drag race. Dave Barham wins, Macris second. I think Murdoch's going to get this. Yep. Just edges across in third place. What a good battle for the final step of the top three. Murdoch across the line by just over 0.1 of a second.
Last year at this event, it was Lauki that was the only one that took a win away from Dave Barham. He's on top of the sheets there, so takes the win by 1.9 seconds over Jason Macris. Then it's Sage Murdoch, Mark Lauki in the west, Carmelo Bonaventura in the first of the Radicals. John Paul Drake brings the car home. There are Grant Green, Brian Pettit, Adam Beasley and Scott Bingham in the Minetta SS V1.
So a fascinating rolling start, wheel to wheel it was. And no matter what he threw at the Chiron this weekend, Jason Macris just couldn't quite lead him and had to settle for second into turn one. This was a great battle. Mark Lauki and Sage Murdoch swap positions. It must have been half a dozen times, if not more.
Well, in this, they did it in about 300 metres of track. They swapped twice.
Really entertaining scrap between the Wolf and the West. Unfortunately, Lauki, DNF, that's a strange issue. Just as they thought they got on top of that. Thought that was a great move, trying to go around the long way. The over-under, that's what I was talking about with the corner exit there at turn 6. And then the Radicals were scrapping as well. Champion was on the comeback trail and worked his way past Green in car number 10. Unfortunately, Champion would soon DNF. This was that cool move. Right around the long way.
He set it from a long way up, out too, and then just held that wide line. He actually could have come across the front of the West there, but it was certainly a position that was then again abated a lap or two later, and there it is, Lauki just gaining that spot back through, and the strength of the West, the high speed at the bottom of that straight. He's Champion looking down the inside of Pettit. Pettit not letting that gap go in the Minetti. They drove around. There's Mark Lauki. He was withdrawing from the race. It's certainly no victory salute, but he certainly put the arm up clear in the air and let them know that he was going to be pit bound. Real shame there for Mark.
Good scrabbling through the field here, working their way past Brenton Keogh, who's new to the championship. That's the ex-Mark Lauki West. He raced at this track a couple of years ago. It was a good fight. Champion continued to work his way forward. Got as high as 5th place, but couldn't make any further progress when car number 34 stopped on the run into turn 6, and that would end his day. So the honours at Queensland Raceway go to Dave Barham. He completes what he started 12 months ago and takes a clean sweep here. Jason Macris second, Murdoch third. The Australian Prototype Series continues in a couple of weeks' time at Sydney Motorsport Park. Darren Smith, looking forward to that.
We'll have a quick break before we go back for more live racing here at the Shannons Nationals.